I hope everyone is having a good day, guys. The conversation that I want to build today with you guys revolves around John Fetterman because I feel like he is such an interesting character who has not been outside of the news as of recently. Seems like everyone's talking about him. USA Today was like, "Are Fetterman and Trump buds? Their meeting proves sanity still exists in politics." Or CNN's headline that reads, "MAGA's new darling, Democrat John Fetterman," or just regular people on the line who are like, who is this? Who is this John Fetterman guy? I kind of like him, as if there's like been some sort of rebrand recently. And I think this is really, really interesting stuff. So I wanted to go ahead and build a conversation with you guys around it today. So also real quick, guys, welcome back to the show, the Adam C. Moreno show. I hope it's a good experience for you today. I hope you're having a good one. If it's your first time here, please consider liking and subscribing if you like being part of these conversations. Now, let's move forward. So, I saw this from End Tribalism, and they shared this video from Forbes Breaking News, and they were asking about how John Fetterman's meeting with Trump went at Mar-a-Lago. And so we'll go ahead and start here. I'll play the whole video. It's only 2 minutes long, but believe me, it's pretty good, especially if you don't listen to a lot of him. Now, just like look at the sanity here. Look at how logical this guy is being in a world where so many people want to, or there's like this crazy division between the left and the right. I really believe John Fetterman is this bright spot. All right, so check this out.
I'm open to many of the nominees. I thought that's been part of the ongoing dialogue that I've been happy to meet with all of them. And I think I've met with virtually all of them. And I've been watching, the hearings. And now that's an ongoing dialogue. So nothing really has changed.
What about Hegseth? You met with him. He had his hearing yesterday. Are you inclined to support him?
No, I'm inclined to continue part of the ongoing process until we're up to that point. And I have met with my colleagues, both on my side, but also in the Republican caucus about the hearing and that issues.
How was your meeting with Trump over the weekend?
It's really pretty much like the way the incoming president described. It was a positive experience. I was glad to do it. I appreciate the opportunity, and it was a good conversation.
And you talked about steel and what other issues did you guys talk about?
U.S. Steel and Dreamers and SNAP and other things. But it's always understood that it was a private conversation. But it was. I got nothing, but it was a positive experience.
Are you open to? Did he urge you to support his cabinet nominees?
Yeah, of course I'm open to supporting.
No, did Trump ask you to support him?
No. I've always been open to supporting some of them. In fact, I've said that, in fact, I ran into you. I was like, Rubio. I was like, yeah, 100%. And Stefanik and others, even Mr. Duffy. I'm going to vote for him. And I understand that in his prior career, he wasn't exactly a big fan, but I don't hold that against people. So that's been part of an ongoing process. And I've been very clear that I revere American democracy, and the winner gets to pay the people. And now I have a choice to embrace the ones that I can find things that we can agree and work together.
Come on. Don't you love it? This is the type of common sense stuff that we love to see. Now, if you look at his post recently on X, he made this post before he actually met with President Trump, right? Who was the first sitting Democrat senator to visit Trump at Mar-a-Lago, which is great. But I just want to walk you through the comments a little bit because the people are loving what they are saying. Look at this. One of the top comments reads, "This is the stance every politician should take. Once you are elected, you are a representative for all of your constituents. You aren't Republican or Democrat. You are an American leader. Come on." And someone else, I like this comment a lot there. They wrote, "Please vote yes for Kennedy as HHS Secretary, sir, and spread the good word to others in the Senate Dems and Senate GOP, right? Another top comment reads, "No shame in being a good American. Doesn't matter what side of the aisle you land on." And I just love this so much. And I think this is very interesting to look at kind of the Democratic Party as a whole, right? Because in a world where so many people are, just purely progressive, right, and they almost want nothing to do with the other side, you have Fetterman, who's actually going out of his way. He's meeting with people like RFK Jr. He's meeting with people like these other nominees, and he's really being, and I love how USA Today describes it, he's really being a maverick, right? I think this is an incredible word right here. USA Today writes, his attitude has made him a maverick in the Democratic Party, and he has attracted support from conservatives and independents alike. It's almost like this world that we're living in isn't as black and white as so much of the media has been wanting to paint it, really. And I also want to, if you're wondering how that meeting went with Mr. President Trump and Mr. John Fetterman, check this out. Eric Daugherty, I hope I'm pronouncing that right. He actually reshares a story from the Washington Examiner. Trump says, it was totally fascinating. He is a fascinating man, and his wife is lovely. I couldn't be more impressed. That is wild. Imagine the president of the United States, well, about to be, saying he's a fascinating man. Wife is lovely. I couldn't be more impressed. Are you kidding me? That's crazy. I would hang this. I would hang this in the living room. That's incredible. That's crazy. The next thing is even more beautiful. He says, he's a common sense person. He's not a liberal or conservative, which is beautiful. This is a really, really big deal. And, I really think we're seeing almost the beginning of the destruction of parties going into 2025, right? And it's not so much in like the very literal sense where people are just going to stop being Republican and Democrats, or they're going to stop being Republicans, or they're going to stop being Democrats. No, I think this is going to happen in a very social type of way where more and more people are just going to begin to proudly identify as an independent. Like, yeah, I'm not really on the left, not really on the right. I'm kind of just an independent. Like, let's talk about the issues. I think that's going to be happening more and more. And to see it being affirmed by Trump is a big, big deal. Now, I also wanted to talk about what CNN was writing about this, right? Because, from their headline over here, it's MAGA's new darling, Democrat John Fetterman. It's a little, it's a pretty crazy headline, right? But the conversation that they had as part of the panel, very, very interesting stuff. Check this out.
I don't know why he's going down there. And I think he was elected by a very strong progressive base in his state. And since his election, really after the midterms, he has become more and more centrist. And that was not the way the people who elected him in Pennsylvania expected him to govern, and particularly go down to Mar-a-Lago. I do think, though, what he is doing, I don't agree with it, but I think what he is doing is he is seeing his state. He is seeing that there are pieces of his state that he also represents that run the gamut in the political ideology, and
that's what he said.
And he wants to be reelected.
That's what he
It's
said.
not just pieces of his state. I mean, look at Pennsylvania between 2016, 2020, and 2024. There's been a huge shift over toward Republicans. Voter registration. Republicans are now a net 205,000 more Republicans registered in the state than there were back in 2019. The state is changing. He knows that. He is
But
not.
can I just say one more thing?
This is what a good graph right here. Looking at Pennsylvania voter registration, and I think this is really important. And it was also brought up in his comment section, right, where someone wrote, right, this top comment. This is the stance every politician should take. Once you're elected, you are a representative for all of your constituents. You aren't Republican or Democrat. You are an American leader, and that is how you should be governing, right? And I just love that the idea isn't that Fetterman is really changing, but it's more so that the state is evolving, the state is developing, the state is growing. So Fetterman kind of growing with them, shifting with them, kind of going in this new direction to to really push the state forward, I think is a really good thing. I don't understand how that's a problem. I think this is probably a net positive for the world. So I just think this is good. But I want to continue sharing that the end of this CNN clip, right? Because I think this shows a really, really big problem with the framework that exists in so many Democrats and that exists in the liberal mind. Okay, because I just don't think it's as healthy, really. So check this out.
Voters and explain to them why they elected you in the first place, not shift positions.
So but I'd argue actually this is not shifting a position, right? I think that, a lot of politics we get lost when it's just simply sort of a left-right axis. What he did, he's from the Allegheny region, obviously, Western Pennsylvania, which is a more conservative part of the state. And what Tim Ryan, who ran against J.D. Vance unsuccessfully at that time, they both were running as sort of Democratic populists, but not far left, right? They were saying, look, we got to stand with the working man. We got to rebuild the middle class, but they weren't running on culture war issues at all that are associated with progressivism. So I think it's actually healthy to see the politics reshuffled. That probably reflects more the way people live and think than this sort of like progressive, far right divide.
I don't think that. I think
I say that as a sentence.
Oh my goodness. I want to pay attention to that one sentence right now that was just said. I think it's actually healthy to see the politics reshuffled, because that probably reflects more how people live and think than this sort of progressive and far right divide. Now, if you're someone who's been interested in people like RFK Jr., for instance, like this is what he's been talking about, right? Healing the divide, bridging the gap, right? Just building that genuine bridge. And I just love how that sentence was framed. And I think it's always fascinating how the only people who are against unity are the people who live in division. And I actually recently wrote this newsletter. It came out yesterday. This is the heroes and villains that I was talking about recently. But I make an argument. I build a conversation around like who's the leader of the Democratic Party, because if you look at things like Google Trends, like there is nothing close to Trump at all, right? This is between December 14th to January 14th. In the past 30 days alone, Trump has dominated the space, right? And that also continued to exist over the past 12 months. Nothing really changed, right? There was a small little blip with Kamala Harris, but even then, it was so short and brief compared to Trump, right? And so the other day, whenever we saw Peter Doocy asking Karine Jean-Pierre like this question of who is the leader of the Democratic Party, her answer was somewhat deflective. She recommended that President Biden was a leader, and we all know that's really not true, because even in his state, he is polarizing among Democrats, among independents. A lot of people don't like the man. All right, and Kamala Harris, whatever flame she had, it's fleeting. Okay, but Democrats, they love division, and that is why that's why in their mind, Trump is just always the bad guy. Trump is always the villain, because they don't know a hero. They spent so much time and energy building up the villain to people. They sacrificed all the resources they had, so nothing could actually go towards building a hero. Unlike President Trump, who is the hero of the Republican Party, right? So I think this is really interesting stuff. If you want to read this, you totally can. I also have this great section here that I'm also really proud of, where I discuss the other guys, right? The Nicole Shanahans, the RFKs, the Tulsis, the Fettermans, right? So I think this is really just the people who don't play by the rules, the people who don't do as they're told, the people who are rule breakers and chain breakers and future creators, really. And I just really love that. So if you guys are interested in checking that out, you totally can. I'll have it linked up. It just came out yesterday. I'm very, very proud of it. But that's the conversation that I wanted to have with everyone, discussing John Fetterman, really a maverick of the Democratic Party today. But what I really want to know is, what do you think about this? All right. Do you think Fetterman has potential, or are you do you see this as flip-flopping? Do you see this as evolving? Do you see him as someone who's actually interested in bringing some healing across our country through the great state of Pennsylvania? Or do you think this is just a little blip on your radar? Anyways, just let me know what you think. I think this is an interesting conversation, and I, for one, am pretty excited about what Fetterman does in the future. Alrighty, everyone. I hope you have a great and wonderful day, and I will see you all next time. Episode's over already? Geez, that was fast. Well, they say beautiful things do not last forever, but feel free to watch and listen to another one of these episodes if you're interested in those conversations as well. Also, this next part is huge. Make sure to obliterate that like and subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you never skip a beat. I also have a newsletter where we dive into the news, politics, and ideas that shape our future. If you're interested in signing up, I'd really appreciate that. Anyways, that's the end of this episode. Thank you so much for watching and listening, and I'll see you next time.